Navy Matters.
Welcome back here to the Fog of War and Humanity here on hmTV. I'm your host, Rich Acritelli. And on our third episode here with Tom Spiers with his massive military helmet collection, we're going to start getting into some of the East German, Cold War, East Bloc, Warsaw Pact helmets here. All right, Tom, so I have this helmet right here. And
so this is a German model 1956 helmet. It has a neat chin strap system. Will stay on your head. When you look at the people running across when they...
the border guard.
Yeah, the border
right?
guards. Yeah,
sure.
This is what they were wearing. This is the helmet. Didn't have the net though.
What was that, about 1960? Right,
so,
as
yeah.
the wall was almost
Berlin
near
Wall.
completion.
See that liner? If you can see the liner a little bit, it's very similar to the German Second World War liner. If you can see it, and the shape is a little bit reminiscent. Want to hold that?
Yeah.
Sideways, you can sort of see it. Just the lower. Can you get? Let's see. You come in this way. Yeah, there you go. Sort of similar. I'm not sure when this helmet was actually designed, but I thought I read somewhere that towards the end of World War II they designed a helmet that looked similar to that. So if you hand me the next one, the one with that, no, the one in the back of that. This is a. This is basically the same helmet. These are the same helmets, but this helmet is called a model 1966. You can see the 3 rivets on the top, but this helmet was relined. So this helmet had the old lining system, but they ripped out the old lining system and they put this new lining system in that left the 3 rivets, I believe.
Looks like there's a lot of support inside that helmet.
Yep, it's like cushion.
Yeah.
These helmets were very expensive before the collapse. It would cost 150, 250, 300 bucks for a helmet like this. And after the wall came down, they were selling for literally $8, $7.
I mean, you have supply and demand, right? There's not many of them during the Cold War.
A lot of these were
Because
exported.
how do they come out, So it's...
A lot of them were exported.
Okay.
Like the Polish helmets that we spoke about earlier, a lot of the Polish helmets were exported to the Middle East. So the first Polish helmet I got came out of the Sinai.
Wow.
Out of Egypt, I believe.
The Egyptians were buying up some of their helmets. Now, that bottom, let's take a look at that bottom helmet again. Now, this helmet, you guys at home, if you look at this helmet, Tom spoke about the soldier looking both ways. He's got his rifle, he drops his rifle, and he grabs
runs.
his bag, and he hurdles the barbed wire into a car that was waiting for him. And he almost sheds his stuff inside the car itself. So this helmet shows really the brute force of the Cold War, where just with that story alone, with that soldier, they did not want to live under communism, and they were within the hair of freedom before that wall went up, and there was still ways to get out. I mean, that's just, if you've never seen it before, it's just an amazing picture of people not wanting to live under communism. And, freedom was right there. And that's just an iconic picture of the Cold War itself, which is just amazing. Okay, so, all right, so now...
It's actually one of my favorite helmets.
This one is here.
Yeah, it's just a great helmet.
It's just a great story behind this helmet. I mean...
Well, who knows where it came from.
But just the story that we spoke about, that form of history, where, he probably left behind some family. He probably had enough. He was that close.
Yep.
And he realized that if I don't take my chance now, I'm going to be on the other side of this wall, and there's no way I'm getting out, which is pretty amazing. All right, so now this helmet here.
Yeah, this is East German model 1966. And it's basically the same helmet as this one, but you can see it has no rivets on the top. The liners are fixed internally. So this was the last, I believe, the last development of
Which one
this
would be
helmet.
better? The rivets inside?
I'd say this one. I think the lining systems feels a little bit better, and they're less. I guess if it gets hit in a strange way, you're less likely to have some sort of a rivet like flying around inside the helmet.
Now, with the rivets on the outside, were those ever known for leaking or anything like that, or they were pretty?
I have no idea. I doubt it. It feels really tight.
Okay.
I actually washed the thing off. It was so dusty, and there was no leakage coming in.
Okay.
I put it under the sink.
Now, this helmet is what year?
Probably the 70s.
70s?
Yep. It's a nice, decent liner. Those A-yoke chin straps. Same as that Russian helmet I showed last time.
Does that have a little bit of the German look from the front from World War II, or did the Soviets on the Eastern Bloc not want to see any of that?
No, I think this looks more German than
it does, right?
Than any
than
of the,
Soviet, right?
Yeah. Again, I think they designed something like this towards the end of World War II. I didn't see it it's somewhere. I read it, but the design looked very similar to this.
You think the Soviets would not want to see like that kind of look with one of their key proxies? Now this is pretty heavy.
Yeah, this is a paratrooper helmet, East German. I think the Poles also used it. Has a decent line, good lining system. It's a robust helmet, small size. But yeah, that's what that is.
Max Schmeling, who fought Joe Louis,
Yeah.
he ended up becoming a paratrooper during the war. Hitler had no use for him after he lost to Louis the way he did. And there's a movie called Joe and Max, and it shows, it was like not an HBO, it was Stars, I think, made it, one of the cable channels. And, it wasn't a big Steven Spielberg or Robert Zemeckis production or anything like that, but it showed Schmeling jumping on the Eastern Front with that same exact helmet. And, so some of those designs look like they didn't really change that much then.
Yeah, that particular helmet, this is, it looks a little bit similar to the World War II one, but the World War II paratrooper helmet essentially was this helmet without a brim.
Okay.
I'll bring one in next time.
Okay.
But and the lining system was like a 4-point. It had 2 straps in the back, 2 straps in the front, so your head really couldn't get out of it.
Now that looks pretty well made.
This is a very well made helmet. It feels really good. I don't know if it was made by the Germans or the Poles, but I believe both used it. This helmet, I think it's known as the WZ63 paratrooper model.
Okay.
But it's robust. I mean, you can really
You can feel it.
It's solid, yeah.
I'd like
to get a large size. Not that I'd ever wear it, but I sort of like helmets that were used as opposed to coming off a shelf of some storage facility.
The American paratroopers, they had their football helmets from like the 1930s.
Yeah.
That they were wearing. The craziest. But that's just technology, and through use, and you get enough of soldiers, airborne, that are using these things, they figure what works, what doesn't work. This is pretty amazing, though. This looks like almost...
It's like new.
Almost like baseball gear,
yeah.
For catcher's equipment. This is pretty neat, this one here.
It's sort of similar to the Romanian one with respect to the flaps,
It's amazing. These countries, although the Soviet Union were the dominant power within, the Eastern Bloc and the Warsaw Pact, they still prepared for different parts of their own armed forces and had different helmets and so on. I mean, you don't think of like the Romanian airborne as large as the Soviet or the American, but they had soldiers there that were willing to do that job, and or they were pretty much told they had to do that kind of job. Okay. All right. So now this is going to be
We'll go into the Polish helmets. So this is a
that actually looks American a little bit.
yeah, this
Right?
is a Polish. This is a WZ3150 helmet. It looks very, very similar. The shell is very similar to the Second World War helmet, but the Second World War helmet had a salamander finish. It was sort of a very rough finish that was dull. And this has the lining system's also, I believe, a little bit different than the Second World War version. It's a very robust helmet. I mean, just super solid. So the Poles used these for a while, but then in 1950 they came up with I believe it's called the WZ50 helmet.
Is that just from the 40s or probably from the late 30s?
I'm sure they kept using it, but I believe the World War II version had this like very rough finish. I think there's something about these like rivets.
Okay.
If they're brass, if my recollection serves me correctly, if they're brass, they're from a certain era. But I think this shell might actually be a World War II shell that was, lined post-war. But
So that's got to be made late 1930s, I would think, because for
I
the
don't know.
Poles, the war starts in September 1st, 1939.
The original helmets were made in 1931.
Wow.
Before that they used like a French helmet, like an Adrian helmet with a
Okay.
comb on the top, with a Polish eagle on the front.
Oh, with the thing up top that almost looks like an armadillo, right?
Well, it's like that. It's a comb.
Is that what it is there?
Yeah. But the next helmet there, this is a WZ50 helmet. The liner, if you look at the liner, it looks very similar to the liner in the other one I just showed you, like the Polish liner. And interestingly, this is also looks very similar to the Russian model 1939 helmet. It has those three rivets to secure the liner. This is a little bit shorter than the other one, but they're very similar. I mean, you clearly see the influence.
What
It's
year
utterly unmistakable.
was this helmet made?
This particular one, 1960. It has the date stamped in.
Heart of the Cold War.
Yeah, you see it? It's like new. It
1960.
was, these could be purchased a number of years ago for maybe $15, $20, $30.
Did somebody stamp this in here, or was that original?
No, it's original. I believe. I have no reason to think it's unoriginal.
So what is that, HS?
That's probably the factory that manufactured
Wow.
with the date of manufacture, 1960.
And the Poles were always in a tough spot because, during World War II, they had the Germans to the west of them and the Russians to the east of them, and they paid
Yep.
a heavy price. And you're seeing that today. The Poles are very concerned about the fight in Ukraine and it spilling over, and the Russians coming, back in that direction again of Eastern Europe.
Strong people.
Oh, very strong people, and then do you have the Polish eagle that is on one of those helmets there?
Yeah, let's see. There we go. It's part of it anyway. I think it might be
That was a big part of
missing its head.
their, right, to determine that was them, right? On their uniforms and their helmets and their hats was that Polish eagle.
Yep. It's a nice helmet. There aren't that many of these around.
Yeah. They had it tough because you had the communist government coming at the end of the war, then you had the free government in London. Stalin doesn't have any free elections, although, he pretty much says at Yalta and in Potsdam, yeah, we'll have the free elections, we'll, attempt them, and it was nothing. Once the Soviets went in, that was it. And I guess that's the interesting part in terms of with Tito, where he probably got helped out was the mountains, where the Soviets said the Germans couldn't fight in the Balkans, in some of those tough mountains. We're going to have a very difficult time. So, all right. So now you got this helmet here.
Yes, this is another Polish helmet. This is the Polish helmet is slowly evolving. You see the shape is somewhat similar to.
Almost an American helmet.
Let me see it's sort of a hybrid. Let me see this. It's sort of a hybrid between the WZ50 and the WZ3150. but it has the WZ. Well, actually, it doesn't. It has a completely different lining system. These Polish helmets are very, very robust. I mean, it's a super solid helmet that's been exported all over the place. So if you hand me the next,
What year was that helmet?
19. I think this is the 1967, but I don't see a date stamp in it. But this is sort of a good system because you can get the liner out quickly. You can just unscrew it. It has a lining system that's very similar to the British Second World War.
So there's not too
post-war
many
lining system. No,
screws or bolts in there?
Just
right?
one screw. You just unscrew it, and this entire liner, I think, will just drop right out.
When you look at your collection, especially the helmets that you brought today,
Yep.
would the Polish helmet be one that you would say would be good for you, or something from your knowledge of this here that you would want to wear in the field?
As far as the steel helmets are concerned,
Yeah,
I sort of like the American M1 helmet.
The M1 helmet.
But I got to tell you, these Polish helmets really feel very, very solid to me.
From the Eastern Bloc countries, are those the finer helmets itself?
To me, it as far as the manufacturing process goes, it looks like the Hungarian helmets. To me, personally, I really don't know, but
Yeah.
the Hungarian helmets seem like they're very well finished with a really great, expensive lining system, and the Polish helmets seem very, very robust.
Which one of the helmets that we spoke about had that fine green color to it? From
It was a little bit shiny.
yeah, shiny there.
It had that neat liner.
Yeah.
That was the Hungarian helmet.
Hungarian helmet itself. Wow. Yeah, I mean, they are similar looking, but they all have
Unique character.
very unique characters, some different features. And so now this helmet is what, late 1960s?
Probably. It might be from the 70s. It's a small size. I think it says 58. You know, a lot of the time, the larger helmets are used in the field and used up, and the smaller ones may remain in a warehouse. And then when they supersede the model,
Yeah.
those are the ones that are more readily available. That's why that East German or Polish paratrooper helmet is small, and it's in basically unissued condition.
You know what the interesting thing is with these helmets is that you get a lot of those European countries, especially in the Eastern Bloc, you get conscription. You get to hit a certain age, or you get out of college, or at some point you're going in and you're serving. You know,
Yep.
and at one point or another, you know, they were either in their guard or reserve or active duty. So a lot of those civilians wore these helmets at one time
Yep.
or another. Okay, and then
This is a Polish helmet too. That has the eagle on it. It's the same. This is it's the same helmet as this. Same thing, but this has a modified lining system. This is called the WZ63, and if you look at the liner, it has all these. Maybe to keep your head cooler, it has these little multiple straps. I think there are 12 of them in the helmet to keep your helmet, to keep the top of your head from coming into contact with a shell, whereas the other one had, I believe, 6 of them.
now this
It's
helmet.
just a different lining system.
What year is this helmet made in your right arm here, right hand?
I don't know, probably in the 70s.
'Cause that looks relatively.
Yeah, again, I mean, these came out of a warehouse, I'm sure. I think. I mean, a lot of these, I think the Poles went over to a fiber helmet, and at that point, these things were just sold off. And I think these helmets were also exported to other countries, although I'm unsure which countries. But this is unissued.
You were saying before, right? The Egyptians
Yeah,
had utilized some
the Middle
Polish.
East. Definitely in the Middle East with the WZ50s. These helmets.
And that would be what, like the Syrians,
Yep.
the Lebanese,
Yep.
Jordanians?
Egyptians. I seen in Iraq they were using. I think the Iranians, they were using like the British 1944 model helmets,
Wow.
and also the Polish helmets. If you look at that, if you look at the monument in Baghdad with the cross sabers, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, sure.
if you look at the pile of helmets there, they were from all different countries, and I believe they were all captured from the Iranians, and there were definitely British ones there and Iranian ones.
Now, is that Arabic use of the Eastern Bloc helmets? What's the reason for that? That these helmets were pretty well made, or there was a surplus of them?
I imagine they probably gave them a good price.
Gave them a good price, and that was probably a little bit better than the technology they were coming up with those types of helmets, right?
Yep.
And you know,
I don't know if they had the ability to manufacture them cheaply.
And those guys kept fighting the Israelis every so many years, and they were always in the need for more weapons and helmets and gear and stuff like that. So, you know, after and they lost a lot. So they must have said we need better equipment. And some of those Eastern Bloc countries were almost like client states, right, where they sold a lot to the Arab countries, right? So, all right. Now we look at all these helmets. What's the one that you look at that says, "Wow, this is probably the finest helmet that I have"? You like the Polish? You like the Romanian, Bulgarian?
You mean here today or
here today?
This is the Marine Corps cover with the EGA in the front. Just a standard U.S. helmet. I just think it's a great helmet. A lot of history behind the helmet. It has reversible cover. See, this is like a fiberglass insert for the helmet, and the covers are reversible, so you can see has a different color.
Yeah, for different terrains.
Different terrains. It's just a neat helmet. This particular helmet, although it has a Korean War utilized cover, this is a very early M1 helmet. And as you can see here, this little bail, this is welded to the helmet. In subsequent years, they swivel. So this is a nice, virtually unissued sample of U.S. M1 World War II.
And again,
helmet.
what year was that helmet?
Probably 41, 42. I'm not sure exactly, but early on. But again, the line, the
before you know
cover,
it,
the cover, the covers. I'd have to do a little more reading, but the covers, they're different type covers. Some have little slits, others don't have slits. The World War II ones, my understanding is, did not have the stenciled EGA on the front. So this may be a World War II cover that received the EGA later.
before you know it, that helmet's going to be 100 years old.
I know.
It's crazy. 80 years, just the end of the fight in the Pacific, and a couple months before this, right? And in Europe, it's pretty amazing how quick time goes by.
I look at some of the World War I helmets I have, and you come to the inescapable conclusion that not one of those helmets was worn by somebody who's still alive, because all the World War I veterans are dead.
They're all gone.
And probably everybody involved in the manufacturing process is gone.
Is gone too. And we're seeing how many people are dying from the World War II era every day. And down the road, there'll be somebody down in New Zealand or Australia that's 114 years old, and they'll be gone. That'll be it. That'll be it. But the helmets are they're very well made. There's some bumps and bruises on some of them, but they're, for the most part, in great shape, right? I mean, it's...
Well, the ones that I brought in.
Yeah, but for helmets that are 80 years old, or even in some cases older, like the Polish helmets, right? 1931, 1932.
Yeah.
That's, you're looking at, 90 years now, right?
Yeah.
So for those helmets have really stood the test of time.
We should do a podcast at some point of World War I helmets or U.S. Prototype helmets.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting. I mean, the U.S. helmets are they're still evolving.
You still see the American helmet as being the finest in the world today?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, the standard U.S. helmets.
Yeah.
They're great helmets.
They're good helmets, right? For a long...
The technology is always improving. There's always a struggle with a helmet. I mean, you can make something that was virtually impregnable to gunfire, but it would be so thick that you couldn't wear it.
Wow.
And you couldn't see, right? So you have all these different factors. You have the weight, the coverage, whether it's going to inhibit your ability to see. or to here?
One
So
thing, those
there may
helmets,
not be any correct answer.
they're just like bulky. You feel it on your head. It's uncomfortable. And when they make improvements, you know, it's one of those things where it certainly helps, you know, all the members of the armed forces that are wearing it.
When you were in, did you guys have the regular helmet liner that looked like, it looked like that?
More or less, yeah. We had that. We had things where we could replace part of the liner itself. We had the cat eyes in the back.
Okay.
You had, like you said,
Like that Kevlar that we had here before.
yeah, it's a big one there.
That's probably the one.
Yeah.
That's probably the helmet you wore, right?
Yeah, you had the cat eyes in the back.
Yep.
You had the liner. You used to be able to repair the liner. And then when you were saying with the swivel, we were able to move it around a little bit.
This helmet's a little unusual because this is a paratrooper helmet.
Yeah.
So it has these straps coming in out of the back of the head for the back of the head and for here. So this isn't the standard infantry model, and it has this piece of foam also. This is an early one, 1982. Small size.
And a lot of these made during the Cold War itself.
Yeah, now they don't make them anymore, I don't think. I think that helmet's obsolete at this point. They're always evolving and improving.
The technology is involved with everything, especially American, military hardware.
For these young guys collecting, there's a lot of opportunity with the Kevlars, with the Cold War helmets.
Do you see a lot of younger collectors?
I got to tell you, I don't think I've ever met a collector other than guys I've met
like your core guys
online.
that
Yeah,
wow.
that I see. Sometimes I go to these military shows and I'll see guys who collect, but it's sort of a obscure hobby. We're talking about rivets,
yeah,
and things like that.
Yeah.
Really, who cares? They all look the same.
But it might save somebody's life someday
That's
too.
true.
It's you never know. But all right, Tom, listen, thank you very much for coming in here to hmTV.
It was great. Thank you for having me. It was really fun.
It's great, from your first time here with all the stuff from World War I and World War II to covering the Eastern Bloc. We appreciate you coming in, and definitely join in next time on the Fog of War and Humanity.